Hello. Well, I wanted to talk about the world going to pot, or rather democracy, apparently on its last legs, but I thought instead I should be talking about feminism. I suppose I started thinking about that subject when I saw some of the comments under the vlog I made about the Sheffield strip club, Spearmint Rhino, which got itself into trouble with a group calling itself Not Buying It, which it says, Not Buying It says, has been set up to fight sexual exploitation of women. Now, there's a place for such organisations, but in my opinion, going after Spearmint Rhino and the women who work there had about as much point to it as that Mexican general, what was he called? Santa Anna or something, wasn't it? Who took his troops on a detour to give the Alamo a walloping and thereby lost Texas. So it's not only the feminists who do dumb things, but at the moment it's typical of a particular sort of person who calls herself a feminist, which I'm going to discuss here. You see, I did refer to Not Buying It as a feminist enterprise, and I believe that was my mistake. First of all, it doesn't say it is. That was pointed out to me in one or two comments, and I agree they're correct. However, more comments accepted my use of the word feminist because they obviously agreed with me that this is the sort of thing that feminists are doing nowadays. And that's true. Fortuitously, shortly after my video went out, that wonderful, wonderful troll, Islam is right about women, started doing the rounds, and that sparked another conversation about feminism from Sargon and Black Pigeon and others. So I started thinking about the term in general. Now, look, most of the people who watch my videos regularly are the sort of people who work on facts in general, and seem to be of a similar mind to myself. You may not agree with everything I say. In fact, it would be rather creepy if you did, but it looks like most of my viewers are the sort of people, so far as I can tell, who would agree that a man wearing a dress who says he identifies as a woman is not, in fact, a woman. Probably get into trouble with YouTube for saying that. They're the sort of people who think that a man who identifies as a woman should not be competing in women's sports. That's my contention, and I suspect that, well, with one or two notable exceptions, of course, most of the people watching this video have similar sentiments. So, I like to think that we're a group of people, mostly, who think that reals trumps feels, and who approach the world based on facts. As I said, that is, we do try to keep a sense of proportion. Of course, we could always say how we'd like it to be, but we don't base our policies on insisting that that's how it actually is. Also, we look at failed systems and don't try to insist that it would work if only we tried just once more. Wasn't that Einstein? Didn't he say the same thing, that definition of insanity was doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result? Now, the sort of people who describe themselves as feminists and talk about the patriarchy and make a lot of fuss about the wage gap and equal outcome and the terrible oppressed situation of women here in the West, they are referred to by people like Sargon as feminists. And I want to point something out. They're not feminists. What they are is extreme socialists. They're not feminists. They're just using the word. I am a feminist. I believe in equal opportunity for women. I believe in one law for all and no exceptions for women of religious minorities to be denied rights enshrined in this case, British law. I believe that conducting clandestine operations on little girls to mutilate their sexual organs should be a criminal offence which should be prosecuted. So that's where my feminism lies. You can be a feminist and you can be realistic. The two are not mutually exclusive. In fact, anything but. That's how real feminists are. The problem is the women who call themselves feminists now aren't really feminists. No, they're not feminists. They're Marxists or Islamists, because the two do seem to go together. If they were feminists, they'd be fighting for equality of women in African countries where polygamy and repressive social systems still run the show. In Muslim countries, well, we all know about those, don't we? In China, well, it's almost over now. But where was the big fuss about the one-child policy that saw women arrested and tied down so that party officials could perform late-term abortions on them? Where's the big fuss about FGM and slavery here in this country? And I should think in America too, and any other Western country where there's a significant Muslim presence. Feminists, real feminists, will be dealing with those things. But on those very things, they are singularly silent. So it's a matter of definition, isn't it? By calling these women, and men too, feminists, you're not only doing real feminists a disservice, you're not only contributing to the subjugation, the real subjugation of women, not only in foreign countries, but in our Western lands, and you are also playing into the Marxists' game, because the base of Marxism is the destruction of language, at least the way the Frankfurt School set it up, when Marcuse came up with the ideas of slotting two mutually antagonistic words together to make something that looked like it made sense and didn't. Let's think. Educational dictatorship was, repressive tolerance. That was another one. It means nothing at all. Just like the word feminism. Which is a word that used to be full of hope and ambition and energy, and those Marxists and their allies, Islamists, grabbed that word and sucked everything out of it but the shell. It's still called feminism, but there's nothing inside it. It's as fake feminism as those men who say they are women when they're not. And when we use the word feminist to describe such people, and I'm talking about fake feminists like Linda Sarsour and Justin Trudeau, you'd be giving them exactly what they want, a change of definition. They're pulling the Marxist stunt of making language so unreliable that we don't know what we're talking about anymore. Some of them do know what they're doing. Many don't. Consciously at any rate, but at some gut level, they're trying to undermine Western civilization by changing our definitions. George Orwell's 1984, much quoted, he describes how the political system has taught people to hold two completely opposite opinions at the same time, and to be able to see one piece of evidence in front of their own eyes while insisting it's something else. That's what intersectionality is doing to us now. That's what that meme, Islam is right about women, is exposing so brilliantly. When Sargon or Black Pigeon talk about feminists, therefore, they're using a word that is the enemy's choice of weapon. They're playing into the game of the people who would destroy them. I have to keep repeating, the word feminism has been co-opted. We should be using it about the real feminists. Gloria Steinem, Mary Wollstonecraft, they are feminists. Not these guys like Sus or Tamika Mallory. And we insult the real work that real feminists have done by using it to describe the Marxist Islamist coalition that has taken it over. Because those people, in their hatred of our civilization, are prepared to ignore female slavery and that around the world, to pretend it isn't happening. Forced marriages, child marriages, polygamy. Instead, they distract everyone with women's marches because they don't like Trump, whatever that means, and slut walks and incoherent rants against the patriarchy. And they're not feminists. And I used that word at the beginning of this video, and I'm going to try never to call them that again, because it doesn't describe them. If you want to donate or contact, the information will be rolling over the Graniopteryx as I speak. Please like, subscribe and share, because it does help with the algorithm. If you visit my channel on YouTube and one day discover that I've disappeared without warning, you'll still find me on BitChute or Minds. Just go to either of those platforms and do a search for Graniopteryx. If you're already watching this on BitChute or Minds, good for you. Meanwhile, if you're watching this on YouTube, remember that you must keep checking the subscribe and bell icons because occasionally they reset. Till next time.